Hi everyone, welcome again. Welcome to my book side of things on YouTube. I'm going to mainly do books and movies on YouTube. Could be any movie. I do love Disney, so there's going to be some content on Disney movies on here as well. And I have read some books that are related to Disney, so I'm going to do some videos on that as well. But this is my first video doing book talk. So, and not like book talk, like TikTok, anyways, book talking about books. So I thought I would introduce to you guys what brought me back into reading, because I went through a huge reading slump. I think the last time that I read something, I would have been my early 20s. So, I mean, I've read like self-help books, and I've read a couple biographies in and around throughout those years, but never really like fully reading the way that I used to read. I did read quite a bit as a kid, and I will do a video on that later as to what books I used to read as a kid and what ones were my favorites. What got me into book reading, I had a friend who posted on Facebook and was like, hey, I'm gonna do this book club. Who would be interested in doing a book club? And I was like, yeah, because for like the last year before, like within the year, I shouldn't say exactly a year, but within the year of her posting this on Facebook, I thought to myself, I would love to join a book club, because back in my early 20s, I was part of a book club, and we used to meet at Starbucks back in the day. And we'd read this book, we'd, go to Starbucks, meet up, have a coffee, or if you wanted a little treat, and then we would discuss the book. And I really liked that. I only went a couple of times just because the women in the group were older than I was at the time. Like, they were all the age that I'm at right now when I was like 20. So I just didn't really find like a connection between them, and I just wasn't in that phase, I guess, of wanting to actually deep dive with reading. So I joined this book club, and that was March or April of 2025. And yeah, so the first book that they decided to read was the book called Too Late by Colleen Hoover. It was amazing. It was a good book for me to start with. I think if I would have started with a awful book with book club, it might have taken me a little while to get into reading books again. But Too Late by Colleen Hoover was really good. It's one of the very few thrillers that she has written, because she usually does like romance type of stuff. I shouldn't say romance. It's like within the realm of love and like all that kind of stuff. Because she also wrote the It Ends With Us and stuff, which that is a love story, but it's, not at the same time, because it's anyways. So Too Late was the first book that I read from my reading slump of many, many years. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. It is about this girl, she's in school and she's dating this like mafia guy, but he's like providing for her and everything, like he's paying for her schooling and all that kind of stuff. So I guess in a sense she feels trapped, is what I got from the book anyways. And then yes, so there's this cop, and he's undercover, and he's immersed himself into this mafia world with this guy, and he is there to try and figure out what he's doing, trying to get some information and stuff to catch him, essentially. She ends up starting to fall for the cop. So it gets interesting in that way, and in that sense of things. There is a few things, like the very end of the book, there's something that happens where you're just like, oh my god. So I would highly recommend reading that book, Too Late by Colleen Hoover. That is what got me out of my reading slump. The next one that got me into Frida McFadden, which I need to still read a lot more of her books. I've only read Never Lie, the whole Handmaid's, I almost said Handmaid's Tale. Oh my gosh. The Housemaid, that's it. The Housemaid series. I read all of those. I've also read, there's like a novella about one that's in prison. And she's got a couple of them. There's like the Inmate in Ward D, and I forget what the name of it is, the one that I read, but it's like a shorter one. But anyways, I've only read a few of hers. I still have a lot of hers on my TBR. So the next one that I read that really got me interested in wanting to read all of Frida McFadden books would be Never Lie. That was the first Frida McFadden book I ever read, and I was blown away because you're reading along. It's essentially this couple, they end up going to this house, and if I'm correct, I think they want to buy this house, so they're that's where I can't remember, but I can't remember if they're going to buy the house or if somebody's missing and they're trying to look for this person. Anyways, they go to this house, and the main girl ends up finding the secret room with a bunch of tapes that a psychiatrist has made with a client. And you think you know who the client is, and you think you know what's happening in this story, and you have no idea. There's so many twists and turns in it, and the end, you're just completely shocked. So I would also recommend Never Lie by Frida McFadden. Again, it's been a long time since I read it, so the little like minuscule details of that book, I might be getting confused. But I do know it was really good, and I do remember the twist at the end, but I obviously don't want to say it, because if you want to read it, why would I tell you the twist? So those are the main two that got me into out of my reading slump, I should say. The other series that I'm into, which has got me back into fantasy again, is Zodiac Academy. That is one that I'm currently reading, as well as other ones on the side. I'll take a little break from it and then read something else. But Zodiac Academy is fantastic. I'm on the 4th book of that one. Again, that one has lots of like side series that are interlinked with it, which I'll eventually get to those, but I'm just sticking with the main series. I'm not even gonna read like the novellas and stuff in between of them, because I just don't see the point at this current time. I just want to get through the big chunk of them, because they are thick books. Like this book that I'm reading right now, the 4th one, has about 815 pages or so. And then I think the next one, which is Cursed Fates, is like 900 and something pages. So it's gonna take me a while, because I also have 3 young kids that I take care of. So I try to read books when my youngest is napping and they're in school. I also try to read when they go to bed. I will read. I will continue to read. I promise. That is my intro to my whole book realm within Crystal Rose realm. I'm Crystal. I want to welcome you to my channel, and I want you to make comments in the comment section. Let me know what books you recommend me to read. I'm into the genres of fantasy and like thriller / mystery. So those are my like top genres. I am open to romance and stuff, and like romance comedy. I have read a few little romance fluffy pieces, which are good in between the thrillers, because sometimes if you read thrillers too much, it's a little much for your mind psychologically. So yeah, if you have recommendations, put them in the comments. I will make note of them, probably add them to my TBR. I will have many more videos about many more books that I have read in the past year, ones that I want to read. I might even possibly do some kids books that like my kids really love, you know? Welcome to the book side of Crystal Rose Realm, and I will see you all soon. Happy reading. Bye.